So do you want to get shots that look like this? Then keep watching. So this is a long-term review of the Xiaomi Mi Sphere 360 camera. But most importantly, it's gonna change the way you shoot videos forever. Because you'll discover how you can capture cinematic shots that you never thought were possible. And most of all, you'll be having fun doing it. Thanks to an invisible flying camera. Hi, my name is Mick and you're watching 360 Rumors, the resource that 360 shooters trust for in-depth camera reviews and innovative techniques. So this summer, we went to Hawaii for the first time. We went to the Big Island and it was more beautiful than I imagined. So my favorite part was when we went ziplining over Umauma Falls. I loved it because it was exciting and it was something we got to do as a family and we'll never forget it for the rest of our lives. Now the funny thing is we almost didn't go because the day before we were supposed to go ziplining, there was a forecast for a hurricane. It was just gonna hit one island, the Big Island. So I called the zipline company and they said, oh, don't worry about it. The hurricane's on the other side of the island. So, well, we decided to go anyway. So when we were driving there, the first part of the trip was pretty cool. You know, the weather was nice and there was hardly any wind. But about halfway through, then we started to hit rain and fog. The fog was so thick, it looked like cars were popping out from nowhere. I mean, to me, that was maybe the scariest part of this whole experience. But, you know, we kept driving and we made it. Have you?
No.
Okay. But that wasn't the end of it. Because when we got there, my daughter threw up and it started drizzling. So, you know, my wife was worried that, you know, the kids would get cold and get sick. You know how moms are. And, you know, I was afraid they'd cancel, which would suck because I really wanted to do this as a family. Well, fortunately we did go ahead with the zip line. So for us, this was going to be an epic experience that we probably wouldn't get to do again in a long time, or maybe not even ever. So I wanted to make sure to capture it the best way possible. I wanted a cinematic view and I didn't want to miss a thing. So, you know, I've seen zipline videos from action cams with selfie sticks and helmets and they're cool. And in fact, we got the video package with our zipline. But I wanted a cinematic view and I didn't want to miss a thing. Could I get a third-person view without a third person? It's almost as if you'd need an invisible flying camera. A good thing I had one on me. It's called the Xiaomi Mi Sphere. Most people don't know about it. It takes 4K videos and 7K photos. Mick, got news for you. It's not invisible. Wait till you see the video. Now here's the forward view, and now watch this. See what I mean by invisible? So what I love about this is that it looks like a third-person view, as if I had a cameraman following me in the zipline, which, you know, would be pretty impossible with a regular camera. But wait, we didn't get a good look at the waterfalls. Well, let's do a replay with a different view. And there's the view looking down. Was it scary? Yes. Was it fun? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now remember what the guide said? Well, let's check it out. He's right. Now with 360 video, some people get confused because they don't know where to look. But that's okay. You can choose the view for them, just like what I did with those videos. So on the desktop, there's this free app called Insta360 Studio. I choose the view that I want. Then I click on the keyframe button, and I just keep doing that. Then when I hit export, Voila, I have an overcapture style non-360 video. I got a tutorial for using Insta360 Studio if you want to check it out. Now if you use Adobe Premiere, there's this free plugin called GoPro VR plugin that works exactly the same way. So there's a lot of pretty fancy editing that you can do with that, like this. So something I wanted to emphasize is that all those shots came from just one camera, one video, one take. So not only can you get B-roll while you're shooting your main video, but there's an endless variety of shots that you can do from just one video. So you'll never run out of B-roll. So now you get why 360 is so awesome. It's great for 360 videos, but when you use it for non-360 videos, it's incredible. Welcome to the next level of action cams. Now for the artists and creators, your minds are probably like exploding thinking about the possibilities with this kind of camera. For the engineers and scientists and left brain guys, well, you're wondering, how does this work? Well, there are three things that make it possible. First of all, the Mi Sphere is a 360 camera, so it captures everything. Second, it's got stabilization. But unlike a gimbal where you use motors to stabilize the video, with the Mi Sphere, it rotates the 360 sphere electronically. So that's why you can hold it at any angle and the video will remain level. Now third, the Mi Sphere captures everything except the space between it. So if you have a thin monopod or selfie stick like this, in the video it looks like an invisible flying camera. So all I have to do is press the shutter and I can record at any angle. Now you can also connect wirelessly to your phone to get a live view. So when you put all these things together, what you get is a third-person view that you can capture by yourself while staying in the action. Now if you're thinking that the best thing about the Mi Sphere is the amazing flying camera view, well, that's not absolutely true, because there's one thing that I think is better than that. Because normally when I'm shooting with a non-360 camera, I'm thinking about the shot. I'm thinking about the angles and trying to think about how to frame it. So my mind is on the camera, not on what I'm doing, not on the activity. Now when I was shooting with the Mi Sphere, I was having fun. I didn't have to think about the camera or the shot. I could just focus on enjoying the moment. You can focus on what's important, enjoying the time with your family.
Are you having fun?
Yeah!
Sophia just...
Totally!
Is it scary? A little bit.
So after shooting, sharing your photos and videos is really easy. It just takes 3 steps. So step 1 is to connect the Mi Sphere to your phone wirelessly. Now step 2 is to copy the files from the camera to your smartphone. And step 3 is to export the photos and videos. Now make sure that when you're doing that you turn on the stabilization unless you really want to turn it off. After exporting, there are many ways to share your photos and videos. Here are some of them. Now here's the tip. If you're working with a lot of photos and videos, it's a lot faster to work with it on a desktop. There are just 3 steps. Step 1, copy the files from the camera to your hard drive. Step 2, open the files in the Mi Sphere app. Step 3, export the photos and videos. Hey, that's not so hard. I can do that. Of course, it's easy and it's actually fun, even if you're a photographer, not a videographer. Now, speaking of photography, the Mi Sphere is great for videos, but it's excellent for photos. So as of August 2018, it's still the most detailed consumer 360 camera for 360 photos. In fact, it's so detailed that you can take out a non-360 photo from it and you'd never know that it's actually just a small crop from the 360 photo. And just like videos, when you're capturing 360 photos on the Mi Sphere, you don't have to take the shot. You can shoot it at any angle. Now, experienced photographers will also appreciate that it has full manual exposure. With the Mi Sphere, I gotta take a shot of one of the most beautiful things we saw in Hawaii, which was the night sky. So you can see Perseus, there's Cassiopeia, there's Andromeda, Aries. Now you may have noticed that the image quality is not as good as, let's say, a video from a DSLR, for example. That's because the Mi Sphere uses small sensors like these compact cameras. In fact, this LX5 has a larger sensor than the Mi Sphere. Second, even if it's 4K, you're actually only viewing a small crop out of the whole 360 video at any given time. So don't expect super high image quality. Now, is that a fatal flaw? Well, let's talk to the experts.
First, let's talk about gear. Gear doesn't matter. Let me explain. So I'm not beholden to any certain kind of hardware or any certain quality of hardware. It's what I have access to.
Your personality is more important than doing fun things like jumping out of a plane or doing fun things like ripping a Lamborghini around a racetrack in Monaco. Take the vlogger out of those fun scenarios and all you have is just an emotionless commercial that you just flip through on TV.
So my takeaway from what Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon said is that image quality is not the be-all end-all. There are more important things, such as you and your story. So if I had shot the zipline experience with a regular camera, I would have gotten much higher image quality. But I would have been too busy planning the shots, choosing the settings, thinking about the framing. It would have been hard to enjoy the experience. So you would have been getting a detailed video of me being distracted. And I would have missed out on what's for me a once-in-a-lifetime experience. So before we wrap up, I want to talk about the downsides of the Mi Sphere. So first of all, the battery is not removable. So it can record up to around an hour and a half if you have a fast micro SD card. Also, the stabilization is not as good as newer 360 cameras in 2018. And also there's no external housing. In terms of competitors, there are several, but here are what I think are the top 5 competitors for the Xiaomi Mi Sphere. First is the 2017 Gear 360. This is a good competitor because it's got decent image quality for photos and videos. It even has a built-in HDR, and most importantly, it costs under $100. But there are a couple of issues with this. First of all is compatibility. Not all phones are compatible with the Gear 360 2017, and not all desktops are either, for that matter. The other thing is, from a practical perspective, it's super slow to stitch your videos. So if we go out and like shoot videos with it, then that night I'd be stitching the videos on my phone overnight, and sometimes the next morning it's not yet done because it crashed midway. So it's not really convenient. Next is the Insta360 One. Now this has great stabilization, like really incredible stabilization, and the app is probably the best app in the industry right now. But the one big issue with the Insta360 One is that you don't get live view when you're shooting wirelessly. Another competitor is the Ricoh Theta V. So this is easier to use than the Mi Sphere, and the image quality is a little bit similar, like a little better for video, a little worse for photo, but this also has like manual exposure just like Mi Sphere. Now the biggest issue for me with the Theta V is that the memory and the batteries are not removable. So the memory is 19 gigs or about 48 minutes. After that, you're stuck until you transfer those photos and videos. So one of the new competitors is the Kandao Qoocam. This has great stabilization, and its cool trick is that it can convert into a 3D 180 camera. Now the problem with this is that the photo quality is not that great. The resolution is limited to about 4K compared to 7K for the Mi Sphere. So the Mi Sphere has almost 4 times as much detail for photos. Not only that, but right now the Qoocam doesn't have manual exposure modes yet. Finally, there's the GoPro Fusion. It's actually one of the best consumer 360 cameras, but it's $699 and it requires a dedicated graphics card for your desktop. Now if that's not an issue for you, then this is actually honestly a better option than the Mi Sphere. I'll post a link to other alternatives so you can check out their advantages and disadvantages. So for 360 cameras, there are plenty of options, but for most people, the Mi Sphere is probably the most practical choice because the 360 videos are good, the stabilization is also good, the photos are excellent, and it's also water resistant. And it's one of the most affordable stabilized 360 cameras on the market as of August 2018. So far I've shown you a lot of non-360 overcapture style videos from the Mi Sphere. You can check out a 360 video sample from the Mi Sphere. It's actually my review from last year, which was in a 360 video format. The only thing is that all the issues that I mentioned in that video have already been fixed. So check out the Mi Sphere group on Facebook. Right now it's got almost 9,000 members. I've also got a link to a discount page, so whenever there are discounts, I'm going to post them on that page. And for more detailed information about the Mi Sphere, check out my written review and my fact file. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in 360.